From our studios in Scottsdale, Arizona, welcome. This is Retirement News Online. So each year from October 15th to December 7th, Medicare Open Enrollment gives retirees a chance to review, compare, and make changes to their coverage. But with so many options, it can be confusing to know where to start and costly to ignore, which is why we have Kris Bashford with Acclivus Group here in Scottsdale and Anissa Anthimiades with Golden Year Benefits in Gilbert, Arizona. You guys, you don't look too tired as we get ready to open enrollment, but this is a time when you guys are really moving, right?
Yes.
So when it first opens up, what should retirees review first? What should they be thinking about and how should they approach it?
The reality is that this is something that you have to do for the rest of your life with respect to, because plans change, legislation in both federal and state houses change, and so this is going to be an active part of kind of your annual assessment. Obviously, when different things change in our society, you have to take a look and see how that affects you and your household, your loved ones, dependents, your heirs. And so legacy and succession planning becomes part of that, but overall health and being able to manage any potential chronic conditions that creep up on you and whatnot. And so that's where Medicare steps in. Medicare was never meant to cover everything. And so that's why you want to sit down with an advisor and see where it affects you most. Take a look at your prescriptions, if there are any, the physicians and medical practitioners you've been going to. And so we assist people in doing that. And, glad to be joined by my associate, Anissa, 'cause she's great at it. So.
Yeah, Anissa, he says you're great at it. And I know you spend a lot of time with Medicare, I guess. So Medicare Advantage and supplement plans, they're different. How does somebody know which direction they should go?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. I think that's the most daunting part of this, enrollment period or transition when, you are, aging in. You really want to look at what you want long term. When I work with my clients, it's all about assessing their needs up front, first and foremost, what's important to them, and also, of course, the long-term goals. So I always tell people, you really want to make sure you have what you need when you go to use it, and it's really about educating yourself on what the options are and what the differences of each plan is, of course. And the Medicare supplement is going to be the only one that the government actually wrote that is designed to go alongside A and B. And the Advantage plan is going to be more of like your traditional employer coverage that you're used to. It's a managed care that's designed by the independent insurance agencies. So there's a couple of reasons why they developed both, but you really just need to make sure that you're looking at what, again, your long-term goals are for a plan when you end up, of course, having to use it at some point and you don't have any surprises, down the road.
And a lot of, I think a lot of consumers out there spend a lot of time in social media in the echo chamber right now, where Social Security and Medicare is being affected by policy risk, which is something in the administration. So are you getting a lot of questions from your clients about that right now? And what are you telling your clients, how to prepare or how to approach that?
I mean, the reality is, as our society shifts, as the government implements new restrictions and controls, we knew this year in July with the big beautiful bill that there were some changes, and those changes are affecting retirees on both their financial and their health care area. And so we have to be that go-between. We have to be able to understand and decipher how that affects them, both here at Main Street, and how their wallets are going to be affected, or their purses are going to be affected long term. And so a lot of that has to do with of course, when they and how they get their Social Security benefits, because for most Americans that is kind of the baseline for where they decide whether they're going to do this in their life or something else. And so we assist them in at least identifying what their options are. And to Anissa's point, there are two distinct different ways to go. One's going to cost a little bit more than the other, but you'll have a better quality of life because you'll have a lot more access to a lot more resources. So with regard to kind of where things end up, nobody knows, all right, as far as policy is concerned. I mean, right now we're in the midst of a government shutdown, and at the very central part of it between Democrats and Republicans is health care and who's going to pay for it. And so that's why we don't want to leave that exclusively to our government. We got to be able to make some good choices ourselves with credible information.
Yeah,
So.
and Anissa, so again, what are some common pitfalls that people typically run into when they're reviewing coverage every year? Because things do change, but they need professional help, don't they?
Yeah, well, first of all, no, not all agents are created equal. A little bit about myself first. I work in 39 states across the country, and I handle all of the Medicare options and plans. So again, my design for my clients is to assess their needs first, what's important to them, and then of course educate them on the two options so they're the ones that are making the decision and there aren't any surprises long term. So when you're a client out there not knowing how to pick an agent or how to even start with plans, it's really about making sure you interview your agent on what their portfolio is and what they handle, and not just thinking that you're going to call the insurance company that you currently have with your employer and just talk to them and think, oh, it's going to be great because it's been great with the current coverage. It's a complete different situation. So I always tell people it's a very big mind shift when you're going from Medicare, or employer coverage or an independent plan that we're used to all of our life before Medicare, to Medicare, because it's not an independent insurance agency that handles the Medicare supplement coverage. It works totally different. So it's not about picking the insurance company first, or necessarily trusting that that insurance company has the right plan, because it's actually not their plan at all. It's Medicare's plan. So really just going back to making sure, are you talking to an insurance agent that works for just a specific insurance company, because you're only going to hear about that specific insurance company and what they have to offer. So you really want to have all of your pieces on the table so that you really can see what is going to be the best fit for you.
Mm-hmm. You're talking about independence is what you're saying there. That
Yes,
makes sense.
Yes, exactly. You're in control.
And you need to be in control,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to healthcare planning, which is a large part of retirement planning these days. The cost of healthcare can affect people dramatically when it comes to having their money last through retirement. Talk about how you integrate the two, Kris.
It's really interesting because when people generally are saving their nest egg, they don't really consider healthcare. And by that, what I mean, they don't really consider the potential, first of all, their own mortality, how long they will live, but they are concerned about one principal thing, and that is, have I saved enough to get me across the finish line until somebody puts a toe tag on me, right? So with us, it's like we want to guarantee that they have income that grows with them, and that it meets their obligations that they've got. So if they want to travel, we want to make sure that we look at what quality of life they will have and the incomes that they have and be able to do that. If it comes down to Social Security, I'll tell you, that's usually kind of that point at 62 and a half where people have to make a decision. Is this something that I want to do now, or do I want to wait until full retirement age? Do I want to wait till the maximum age of 70? And then behind that, hey, required minimum distributions on this quote unquote tax time bomb that I've got building with my 401ks or my other retirement resources. So all of that is part of our analysis, and so it all works in hand together. And so, once an individual sits down with us, we do an assessment to find out kind of where they are. When we consider health, if somebody is retired and they've got a strong nest egg, but they're managing certain physical conditions, then we have to weigh that into the care, and in particular the chronic care management that goes associated with that. So we were going to present something different to that individual versus somebody who's got a clean bill of health, they're active, they're able to do a lot of things in life, and so we're going to look at their longevity a little bit differently. So there's a lot of different factors that come into it.
Well, I appreciate your time, guys, and we're going to continue the conversation here in a moment on Social Security. It's Kris Bashford with Acclivus Group in Scottsdale and Anissa Anthimiades with Golden Year Benefit in Gilbert, Arizona. This is Retirement News Online. Thanks for watching.